The anchor I'd like to discuss is the H anchor, and I do consider it a high integrity anchor depending in the right conditions. First of all, I want to think about the snow conditions with which this type of technique is appropriate. That condition would be something on the order of good wind pack. Commonly I'll use this in spring conditions where we have that isothermal snow condition, but the point being that it's usually something I do with more firm snow conditions. The benefit of this is that it's quick to construct and quick to deconstruct, but its limitations are that in midwinter conditions, it doesn't have the same type of surface area that some of our other anchors might have. First of all, I'm going to create a T-slot for my ice axe. I have to decide how deep I want it to go. I don't have to go all that deep. The other thing is I want to be sure that the wall that the axe is leaning against is overhanging to facilitate keeping that axe from pulling up out of the snow. And I need to decide on my direction of pull, because when I make the T, I want that to align with my direction of pull. Yes, there's trees behind us, but in this situation, I'm just demoing our anchor. So omit those from the situation. Okay, the next step here is I have to sling the ice axe to create the T-slot. And take a sling, it could be a quad, it could be a double. It depends on the angle of the slope. If it's a steep slope, I won't need a quad because it'll pull out nicely. If it's not a steep slope like this, a quad will be nice because it'll be able to get my master point in a more advantageous position for the direction of pull. Slide the shaft of the axe onto the clove hitch. Now the clove hitch is pretty important in this particular situation because I really want this to cinch down, and in doing so, if the axe moves ever so slightly in the T-slot, it's not going to slide down the shaft of the axe. So it'll really do a good job in keeping this sling in position without moving about. You do a better job of getting this to be a little more undercut. Okay, pick down, nice and snug. Okay, in there, get it down in there really well. In the right conditions, you could stamp on it a little bit if you wanted to get it in there. Set it a little bit like that. So now the basic T-slot elements of this are complete. The next step is to create the H, or in other words, utilize our skis to brace the T-slotted ice axe. I like to go graphic side against the ice axe. My thought process is that the direction of pull is pulling on the ski in the way that a ski is designed to be flexed. In this case right here, I like to get the angle nice and steep because I do have a little bit of a twin tip here, and bring it in and get it right down to the binding. I'll count for the tail rocker, get it in here like so, and get it down to like that. Get it braced here. Now I do want to be sure that this is well set, because what I don't want is the sling to shift and inadvertently come against any of the edges of the ski or anything of that order. So what we have here is we have our T-slotted ice axe, which has a level of integrity in itself, but then we've added our skis to actually brace this ice axe to oppose any would-be forces that might be put on this anchor. So in the end, now you can see what I've got right here. The sling is staying in position nicely. If I'm inclined to want to test this a little bit further, I just can simply tie a knot into this and clip in and really just reef on this to see how it looks. I'm hitting this pretty hard, and that anchor is really quite a high integrity anchor. To recap, what we've done here is we've created a high integrity anchor that, though it is somewhat conditions dependent, it is very quick to construct and to deconstruct. And since it is conditions dependent, I would highly recommend that you go out and experiment with this anchor in a variety of conditions to see what conditions are viable for this anchor and which are not.